optimism and hope for the common denominator of over 80 ethnicity, a country with 3,000 years of glorious history and culture, mother of freedom. Ethiopia.
Attention business owners. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that your website have its own chat support staff for 24/7 and interact with your site visitors and get their questions answered? Or help you generate more sales on many websites as you wish for small one-time fee? And what if I told you that you can do all these without hiring staff, virtual agents and sophisticated platforms? Do you want to know more about this cutting-edge software? Click the link on the description section below.
Welcome to Ethiopia Today. Our today's presentation covers the following topics. Foreign banks entry may augment capital inflow. Ukraine hit by unprecedented cyber attacks. Chinese researchers develop 4-minute PCR test. Israel's GDP grows 8.1% in 2021. Tigray rebels killed and gang raped dozens of women and girls during Ethiopia war, Amnesty says. Details are presented as follows.
Foreign banks entry may augment capital inflow. Entry of foreign banks into Ethiopia's financial sector would bring a positive role to boost the flow of foreign capital to the country, a renowned economist said. An economist in the African Chamber of Commerce, President Kibber Gena, told the Ethiopian Herald that permitting foreign firms' participation would fill the gap in the scarcity of capital in Ethiopia. The participation of foreign firms into the local financial institutions will help to reduce financial problems in some way, but policy towards it would be implemented carefully according to the economic interest of the country. As to Kibber, most of the local firms and investors channel the profit they gain from one sector to the other. Meanwhile, foreign companies usually tend to take the net profits out of the country. The system may not be replacing local financial firms with international institutions. The question is, how can interconnect the system according to the development and growth plan of the country, highly focusing on the economic benefits of the country. The policy towards foreign financial participation should be carefully seen. Foreign firms would pull out in times of trouble, and this would endanger the national economy. However, interconnecting international financial institutions with local counterparts to enter into the market would bring competitive pressure among the former. This will consolidate and reach a scale at which they can effectively perform and compete, he remarked. Furthermore, Prime Minister Abiy urges Commercial Bank of Ethiopia to prepare for international competition. The Prime Minister has recently inaugurated the new state-of-the-art skyscraper headquarters of Commercial Bank of Ethiopia (CBE), built at a cost of $303.5 million. It is the tallest building in East Africa, built by Chinese contractors, was officially completed as the two countries continue to strengthen bilateral cooperation in 2022. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the premier described the bank has a wealth of financial expertise and knowledge in Ethiopian banking history. The premier added that the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia (CBE) is a testament to Ethiopia's capacity in building institutions and passing them on to future generations. It is delighting to see that the bank, on its 80th anniversary, completed this state-of-the-art building. There is the need to build institutions that continue to learn from the past and redeem seasons, he said. Banks need far more modernization in terms of manpower and operation aside erecting such magnificent buildings to compete with international banks, he underscores. According to him, the bank is resourceful in financial expertise and knowledge in the country. Noting that CBE is an umbrella of the financial institution in Ethiopia's financial history, Abiy said the bank accounts for more than 52% of all bank deposits in the country. In addition, the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia accounts for more than 60% of the sector's total assets. However, Abiy stressed the bank's success should be extended to regional competitions in the Horn of Africa and the international arena. Ukraine hit by unprecedented cyber attacks. The cyber attacks that hit Ukraine's government websites and banks on Tuesday were the largest in the country's history, Minister of Digital Transformation Mikhailo Fedorov said on Wednesday. All the authorities responsible for cybersecurity worked to counter these attacks and eliminate them, Fedorov was quoted by the Interfax Ukraine news agency as saying. The distributed denial-of-service DDoS attacks, which cost an estimated millions of US dollars, were prepared before and were aimed at destabilizing the situation and sowing panic in Ukraine, the minister said. Currently, the DDoS attack on the Ukrainian government websites has not yet stopped, but it is under control, Fedorov said. On Tuesday, the cyber attack struck the website of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and two government-owned banks, Private Bank and Oschid Bank. Chinese researchers develop 4-minute PCR test. Chinese scientists say they have developed a COVID-19 test that can process results as accurately as the polymerase chain reaction PCR tests in less than 4 minutes. The new technology uses a device that can detect the presence of the virus genetic material in the form of electric signals, said the authors of the study. They said the test was capable of finding small traces of the virus in the sputum of an infected individual on independent Uganda report. The tool may be advantageous in that it offers rapid detection of SARS-CoV-2 nucleic acids, easy operation, high sensitivity and specificity and portability, the authors said, referring to the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. PCR tests are the most accurate on the market but must be processed in a lab, which so far takes a few hours at minimum. When labs are overwhelmed by local surges in infection, processing can last days. Quicker, which is 15-minute rapid antigen tests, are less reliable than the PCR alternative. Recently, several governments have also opted to use the more convenient at-home rapid antigen test kits, which give results in about 15 minutes. However, these tend to be less accurate than PCR tests, as they can miss detection in samples with lower viral loads. Assays for nucleic acid testing that are simple, rapid, and ultra-precise would contribute to slowing down the fast spread of SARS-CoV-2, the authors of Chinese study wrote. Adding their device would help on-site and point-of-care testing in airports, clinics, local emergency departments, and even at home. Researchers at Fudan University collected nasal samples from 33 PCR-positive COVID-19 patients, 23 PCR-negative patients, 6 influenza-positive patients, and 25 healthy volunteers. The test accurately processed all cases without error in under 4 minutes, according to a peer-reviewed study published February 7, 2022 in the journal Nature Biomedical Engineering. PCR tests are more precise than antigen tests because they are more sensitive. They are considered the gold standard in diagnosing COVID-19, as recognized by the World Health Organization and health authorities around the globe. Antigen tests require a higher concentration of the virus than PCR tests to show a positive result. This means antigen tests are more likely to show a false negative. Antigen tests seek pieces of virus-infected proteins, while PCR tests search for viral genetic material like nucleic acids and RNA. Until now, no technology has been created to properly detect COVID-infected nucleic acids and RNA without using extraction and amplification methods, for which you need a lab environment. The Fudan University research was conducted on a small sample, said Andrew Ching, a professor of economics jointly appointed to the Johns Hopkins Department of Economics and the Bloomberg School of Public Health. If the 100% accuracy rate were to hold up in a larger test sample, Ching said it could be a game changer. However, he said if the accuracy rate doesn't hold up at a larger scale and becomes similar to that of the antigen test, it won't make a difference. Ching said that because the structure of China's government places more authority toward the top if the test is able to be produced at a large scale, he wouldn't be surprised to see manufacturers coming out with versions by the summer. China tends to be more open to experimental methods, he said, allowing approval processes to move more quickly than they would in Europe or the US. The test developed at Fudan University uses a hypersensitive electromechanical biosensor to detect nucleic acids previously difficult to identify due to their low concentration in test samples. Researchers said the development of portable tests featuring such technology could enable on-site testing at airports, clinics, emergency departments, and at home. They added it could also be used for the quick diagnosis of other types of diseases. There are countless brands of COVID-19 rapid at-home tests currently on the market which vary in accuracy. Israel's GDP grows 8.1% in 2021. Israel's gross domestic product (GDP) increased by 8.1% in 2021, the highest annual growth in 21 years, according to a report released by the Israeli Central Bureau of Statistics on Wednesday. The country's GDP increased by 3.6% in 2019 and decreased by 2.2% in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In October-December 2021, there was an annualized 16.6% surge in Israel's GDP compared to the third quarter, the highest figure ever in the fourth quarter. As the Israeli population grew by 1.7% in 2021, the GDP per capita increased by 6.3% following a 3.9% decrease in 2020. Israel's private consumption expenditure increased by 11.7% in 2021 after a shrinkage of 9.2% in 2020, while the public consumption expenditure increased by 2.9% last year compared with a 2.5% rise in the previous year. The report also shows that Israel's goods and services exports rose by 13.6% in 2021, the highest since 2010 following a 1.9% decrease in 2020. Israel's imports of goods and services rose by 18.7% in 2021 after a 9.5% decline in 2020, according to the report.
Are you looking to earn working remotely, from anywhere with maximum flexibility and convenient? Do you have a talent or services to offer to your clients? You have great chance of working on several jobs or projects for multiple clients at one time. Or are you a business owner or employer who are looking for hiring freelancer to work on your project? Well, if that's yes, please click the link below to learn more about and get started.
Tigray rebels killed and gang-raped dozens of women and girls during Ethiopia war, Amnesty says. The atrocities took place in Cheni and Kobo during last year's conflict after the Tigray People's Liberation Front rebels seized control of the towns. Doctors told the rights watchdog that some survivors had suffered lacerations likely caused by rifle bayonets being inserted into their genitals. Tigrayan fighters deliberately killed civilians and gang-raped dozens of women and underage girls in 2 towns in Ethiopia's Amhara region last year, Amnesty International said on Wednesday. The latest example of the horrific toll exacted by the 15-month war. The rights watchdog interviewed 30 rape survivors, some as young as 14, and other victims of violence to draw a picture of the atrocities in Cheni and Kobo in August and September after rebels from the Tigray People's Liberation Front, Tplf, seized control of the towns. Nearly half the victims of sexual violence said they were gang-raped, with doctors telling Amnesty that some survivors had suffered lacerations likely caused by rifle bayonets being inserted into their genitals. A 14-year-old schoolgirl told the rights group she and her mother were both raped by Tplf fighters who said the attacks were in revenge for atrocities committed against their own families. One of them raped me in the courtyard and the other raped my mother inside the house, she said. My mother is very sick now. She is very depressed and desperate. We don't speak about what happened. It is impossible. The investigation follows the publication of an Amnesty report in November which documented sexual assaults by Tigrayan rebels in the Amhara town of Nifas. Evidence is mounting of a pattern of Tigrayan forces committing war crimes and possible crimes against humanity in areas under their control in the Amhara region from July 2021 onwards. This includes repeated incidents of widespread rape, summary killings and looting, including from hospitals. Amnesty's deputy director for East Africa, Sarah Jackson, said. Residents of Kobo said Tplf fighters shot dead unarmed civilians, apparently in a revenge killing spree after facing resistance to their advance by Amhara militias. The first dead bodies we saw were by the school fence. There were 20 bodies lying in their underwear and facing the fence and 3 more bodies in the school compound. Most were shot at the back of their heads and some in the back. Those who were shot at the back of their heads could not be recognized because their faces were partially blown off, one male resident said. The watchdog said its satellite imagery analysis revealed the existence of the new burial sites referred to by the villagers. The Tplf did not respond to the latest allegations, Amnesty said. But the terrorist group has previously criticized the watchdog over its earlier report on alleged atrocities in Nifas, saying it would conduct its own probe and bring perpetrators to justice. The war in northern Ethiopia has been punctuated by accounts of massacres and mass rapes, with thousands of people killed and hundreds of thousands on the brink of starvation.
Thanks for staying with us. If you enjoyed our presentation, give us a like and share to your social contacts. And also don't forget to subscribe and tap on the notification bell if this is your first time. Please also check on our collection of favorites on the description section below. See you on our next video. Many thanks. May God bless Ethiopia and its people.